That Okoro game winner against the Nets was awesome. How important do you think that shot was for him and for the team? And do you think they will use him more in these kinds of key situations?
First of all, I thought it was huge for Isaac Okoro because we all know that he's been working probably the most at his shot since entering the league out of just about any other skill he's tried to perfect. Mm-hmm. And they even had an article that came out and tried to pump him up at the beginning of the year that he was going to be a much better shooter from the outside and somebody they could consistently call upon for a shot like that. And the shot kind of brought me a little bit to tears, I'll admit, because I couldn't stop thinking about how difficult it's been for Isaac and how he hasn't given up on himself and the team hasn't given up on him either. And he's still a very young man that has an enormous amount of potential. And you and I have talked him up a ton on our podcast, and I think we'll continue to do that. So it was huge for Isaac. It was also huge for the team because they need to see that their investment is going to pay off. And they obviously want the best for Isaac, but they also want the best for themselves. And they're going to be a much better team with Isaac Okoro making those kinds of shots. And not only making those kinds of shots, but having the kind of basketball IQ to find himself in the corner open for that shot in the first place. Because I did go back and watch a replay of it many, many times because I wasn't able to see it live.
Watching it now.
Yeah, first I had to see it a few times just to witness a man miss 3 shots in a row. It's pretty insane that Mitchell could throw up 3 shots and miss them all. And I'm sure he's laughing a little bit, to himself about that, especially in retrospect of how the game turned out. And then the fact that the ball actually squirted out and got to the corner, LeVert was able to pick it up. It was to my mind, it was a perfect representation of how these guys practice and practice and practice and practice for a moment like that. Because I watched them just run a play without saying a word. And they all got into their positions, and LeVert threw it exactly to the person he was supposed to. And Okoro took a big swing where he was all the way around, just like, don't mind me, I'm not
It's like a stroll through the park.
Yeah, just like, oh, I don't care if I'm not somebody important, just kind of just moseying on over to that corner. And then it was just beautiful how the minute he got there, Allen was there for the screen. LeVert made the pass, and beautiful shot. So it was what Cavs fans have been hoping for from Isaac for a while. It wasn't the prettiest release or anything like that, but it went down, and it was just beautiful to see. And I would just say, as far as would they be using him more in these kinds of key situations? Yes, simply because he's proven that he can be relied upon. Anytime in a big moment like that you make a shot, people now are going to believe you're going to make the next one or that you have a better shot of making it. And I think even Isaac is going to go out there with a little more belief in himself moving forward.
Yeah, I think the best thing about that was just his confidence. You and I mentioned everything that Isaac has gone through and what we've talked about with him, and I remember it was probably it was early on in the season, and you really just talked about confidence more than anything. You talked about how he was clearly working on his shooting form, which is great, but the number one thing you brought up was confidence, and I was confident that that ball was going in that basket when he shot it. Yeah, his shot is a little bit different, but I think I could tell that he had enough arc on it and that he was confident that he could make the basket. And that was the thing that I was really impressed by. Was it was everything what you mentioned, but then on top of that, it's Isaac just being like, yep, I'm here, I know what to do, and I'm going to win this game right now. This is what I'm here for. And it was just an awesome sequence. And we talked about LeVert at the top of the episode, the fact that you have LeVert passing to Okoro, two guys who on other teams might not get along super well because they're constantly playing for the same position or the same amount of minutes, but all of these players really do trust each other. And I kind of had flashbacks back to the infamous J.R. Smith rebound debacle because everybody was freaking out on the Cavs when Donovan Mitchell missed that rebound and the fact that he missed two more again. And you kind of, as a Cavs fan, you have that like stress PTSD of like, oh, cool, LeVert's going to dribble it out of bounds or some crazy thing. But really, it was tied to the trust of all of these players and what they have with each other, because LeVert didn't panic. It's just like what you mentioned. They ran a play and he found the open man. That's exactly what you're told to do. I'm not a basketball savant, but I've listened to enough announcers say you find the open man. And that's what he did. It was just pure chef's kiss. Awesome play. I'm so happy for the team and mainly Isaac, because he should get more chances now. And I think we'll get a little more freedom from JB just to let him kind of do his thing. The last thing I want to mention, remember, Isaac is only 21 years old. He's been in the league one more year than Evan Mobley, but he's the same age. So that's what is also awesome about this, is you have two 21-year-olds out on the floor and they hit a game winner to, send the Nets back into their locker room.
Yeah, unreal.
Thank you for listening to the Cavaliers Basketball Club podcast. Let's go Cavs!